and Foco Inc. host a gallery event titled Reflejos. This exhibit featured two women photographers, both from the Dominican Republic, who aim to express their lives, feelings, and thoughts through their photography.
The project I'm exhibiting here is called Umbral, and it's a project about my experience as a single mother. I photographed my son for 10 years when I became a single mother, and the work is a lot of self-portraits. In some of those self-portraits, he also appears, but it's a lot of portraits of him and an exploration of my experience as a single mom and the experience of childhood too. When I became a single mom, I became a single mom young, and I thought my life was kind of over, like, man, I screwed up. But, kind of taking on a creative project was a way of rebelling against that and not thinking that my experience was only I'm a mom. So this was a way of me saying I have more to say, I'm an artist. So that was the initial part of it. But as I started making the work, I also realized that I had a lot to say about my own childhood. I grew up in a very dysfunctional home, and parenting brought up a lot of memories and a lot of reflecting on that. And I think these images really helped me process that and work through it.
I'm a visual storyteller. Like I said, I was born in Washington Heights, raised in the Bronx, and from a very young age, I knew that I wanted to be an artist, that I wanted to be a photographer, and that I wanted to create images. I was inspired by my mom growing up because she documented our story between New York, Washington Heights, and the Bronx, and the Dominican Republic. So from a very young age, I was able to hold these photographs, these images that were so tender and dear. I was able to hold them in my hands, and I was able to reconnect and relive moments that if it wasn't for these images, like me with my great-grandmother in the campo, in her little home, like I wouldn't ever have any recollection of that moment if it wasn't for my mom capturing it and having the physical image in my hand as a kid. This is a showcasing of Si Dios Quiere. Si Dios Quiere means God willing. And I started this project in 2013 as a way to reconnect with my motherland, as a way to shine a light on my community and share the voices that I am familiar with, the voices in my family, my friends, my community.
Both artists chose one piece of their work in the exhibit to explain the meaning and inspiration.
This one is one of my favorite in the series because it's an image where my image and the one of my son is welded into one. We're like a single entity in the image, and I have about 3 self-portraits in this project that are similar, where we're both welded into one. This image is called As One, and it was during a very hard time in our life, our home life. We were going through hardship, and I think this image just shows our bond and how we kind of like got through it, and it represents one of those moments where I felt the most connected with my son.
This photograph was taken in Moca, in the campo, in Dominican Republic, and this image is very special to me. I hold it very dear to my heart because it's of a family friend, childhood friend. Her name is Yenelsida. And so, like I was speaking about earlier, like at the age of 13, there were so many things, like materialistic things that I wanted for myself. And that's why I started working. And although I was absent for many years in the Dominican Republic, the tradition of sending things back home continued, right? Like I was absent, but I was still present in the way that when there was something I no longer felt like I needed, I would send it back home, and it would go to my friends, my family, my relatives. So in 2013, that was my first year returning to the Dominican Republic, visiting my friends, visiting my family, and reconnecting. And so this was my first time seeing her, visiting her, and photographing her, and entering her space. And when I entered her space, I saw myself. It was like a reflection of myself, because I saw things that once belonged to me, but were now hers. Like right here, this is a Dominican home in the campo, and right here you see a Hollister logo. Like you see she's wearing she's wearing Aeropostale, she's wearing my old Hollister jeans, and like some of the items on her clothes are things that I connected with the minute I walked into her room, and it felt really good because I was like, I know I've been absent for such a long time, but when I walk into her space, I see myself.
These two talented artists are the perfect examples for up-and-coming artists near and far. Reporting for BronxNet, Kyrie Moody.